Good morning, everyone. So through my process of speeches, I hope that I have gotten to you to the point that suntan lotion really isn't great in the United States and that it completely lacks safetiness and effectiveness, and that other countries have these ingredients that we could easily have at our reach. I've told you why it has hit home. My mom was actually diagnosed with skin cancer about 3 summers ago, and so I've become interested in the subject and has done extensive research and honestly learned a lot about UV rays themselves and the protection that goes into them and the harm that they cause our skin. And the government has honestly finally realized how our process of approving these ingredients isn't working out. It has taken way too long and is completely unacceptable. So I want to tell you now and walk you through the processes and how the processes matter, because they really are the ones pushing through the ingredients and the new ingredients that hopefully will lead to a less number in diagnosis of skin cancer each year. So why is it that it has almost taken 2 decades for our FDA to approve new ingredients? Under our current legislation with the TEA, which is the time and extent application, there's 2 processes for approving suntan lotion. It's 2 steps, excuse me. First is eligibility of the product, and the second is whether the product is, you have to experiment on the data. This process is usually ignored and really has no time slot, so that's why these prescriptions have been sitting on the table for so long. And our sunscreens and sunblocks are actually viewed as over-the-counter drugs. So these products must be tested and experimented to see if they're safe, which makes completely sense. I don't want to be rubbing something on my skin which isn't safe. Our government has finally made a step in the right direction for a solution for suntan lotion with a new act. The new act is the Sunscreen Innovation Act, and was introduced to the Senate by Representative Ed Whitfield and Senator Jack Reed on March 13th, 2014. This has then been signed and become a real law on November 26th, 2014. And since then, our 8 products that have been on the FDA approval board for some amounting to 13 years have finally started the process. And then they have 1 year to be deemed safe or not safe. And this is not to say this is degrading the FDA's process. It still has to go through extensive research, and you can market with after the year needing more research, but it's not going to just be sitting under the FDA's eyes, not having anything to do for 12 plus years. And now next, the word that you have to actually use for the 8 ingredients especially, you have to categorize them into 1 if you know if they're safe or if they're not. And according to Teresa Michelle, the head director of non-prescription drugs for the FDA, the word is GRAS, which is generally recognized as safe. You have to put these into 2 categories and deem them either safe or not. This is just lingo for the insider instead of just saying safe or not, because there's so many different elements that go into it. Now the actual ingredients. The 8 ingredients that have been on there have been in other countries and have proved effectiveness so much, and combined are so much better than anything we have on the shelf today. They're better physically and chemically. Physically, they're not as oily and greasy, and they won't leave the residue that they leave today on us. They won't irritate our eyes and won't have that chalky feel. Some of these products altogether, their effectiveness is that they're photostable. They won't deteriorate, and they won't lose effectiveness throughout the day, which is a huge problem in our lotions today. They together cover the whole spectrum, the whole UVA and whole UVB spectrum, which we don't have products available today to do that. And some of them are even hybrids, which are chemical and physical suntan lotions. These products include amyloxate, entacamine, octyltriazone, bemotrizinol, bisoprolol, iscodrazole, drometrizole, trizexane, and ecamscule. And the last one I mentioned has had its eyes on it most recently and has actually been under the FDA's eye. And that's called ecamscule, or other known as Mexoryl SX. And Mexoryl SX actually is a photostable ingredient, which means it doesn't degrade in the sunlight, and it doesn't have it won't lose effectiveness throughout the day. Mexoryl also has proved to not show any signs of carcinogen effects, which is the role that leads to cancer. So it doesn't absorb into the skin. So this is a replacement for avobenzone, which I don't know if you remember, but that's one of the main ingredients that goes into all suntan lotions that we're used to today. So it's a perfect replacement and is way more effective in numerous ways. This ingredient oddly was patented by a company about 7 years ago, and the odd thing is it was not approved by the FDA as an ingredient, but by this company it was eligible to become patented and used in one of their products in America. This company is L'Oreal, and their first product with it in the US was La Roche-Posay. For a while, these ingredients were available in other countries, but people would have to pay the international price, which was completely ridiculous, because just to get a safe and reliable thing, and that not everybody can afford, you're going to have to pay these huge prices. So in 2006, the FDA gave approval to patent Mexoryl SX for L'Oreal, and have since been sold in American stores. So through my process, I hope that I showed you why I really care about this, why suntan lotion isn't really good, why the processes are very lacking, and why the actual sunscreen hasn't been approved. But we have found a solution. It's just the fact of America and their government getting to it. So I hope that this will all lead in the near future to new sunscreens seen on the shelf, like the L'Oreal one, and that we can see in the future a very less skin cancer diagnosis in America annually. Thank you very much.